TicketWeek.com to buy single match tickets to see me and Love Omaha Volleyball in action this season. Go Big Green!
Outside is where winter adventure unfolds. On frozen lakes, icy landscapes, and snow-covered slopes, feeling the cold air rush by as you race downhill. The freedom of gliding with ease and the warmth of being together. From epic sled rides to the fun of ice fishing, it's all right here beneath Nebraska skies. Start your winter adventure at yournebraskaparks.com. Sponsored by Nebraska Game and Parks, aired with the Nebraska Broadcasters Associations and this station.
Rashawn Jackson here for Bauer Underground, who has been serving local contractors and utility contractors all across the state since 1997. When you see the black and white trucks, you know the baddest dudes in the business have arrived. Bauer is currently looking for equipment operators, laborers, diesel mechanics, and aerial linemen. Join the brotherhood built on hard work, authentic people, and pedigree of success. Bauer, a family-friendly company who reminds you, go Big Red!
When you need a new water heater, nothing beats the ProLine family of water heaters from A.O. Smith. ProLine models are built using commercial-grade components, meaning they're built to help you tackle your toughest days. No matter if you need a gas or electric model, A.O. Smith has a ProLine unit for you. A.O. Smith, innovation has a name. Call Wellman Plumbing at 402-434-2400 for a great deal on a water heater today. Again, that's 402-434-2400.
Shopping for new flooring is different today. Getting your questions answered, making the right selection, getting the best value, and installed quickly and professionally. Visit OakStreetCarpet.com or shop our store. We'll answer all your questions and help you make the right choice. You'll be enjoying your new floor in just days for less than you'd pay elsewhere. Carpet, vinyl, wood, laminate, tile, and area rugs. We've got it all.
Oak Street Carpet.
1732 Oak Street. Family owned and operated. Always the best value.
Live from the heart of Lincoln, America, welcome to Ticket Weeknights on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
Welcome in to Women's Sports Weekly here on 93.7 The Ticket. I'm your host, Sarah Pearson. We have a big lineup ahead this evening. Later on, we're going to talk some women's basketball and some Husker volleyball. But first, I'm very excited to have my guest on here this evening. We have Anna Bellinghausen of Hurrdat Sports, and I am going to bring her in right now. Hi, Anna, welcome.
Hey, Sarah, how are you doing?
There we go. Now I have your mic on.
How are we doing, Sarah?
Pretty good. How are you?
Hey, I'm excited to be here. Thanks for having me on.
Of course. Excited to talk to you here a little bit. So you work in Hurrdat Sports, and I just kind of I want to start at the beginning. What made you realize that you wanted to work in sports?
Yeah, great question. I think it just stemmed from an early age, truly wanting to play every sport growing up, and I feel like most kids' dreams start that way, and obviously wanted to be a pro athlete, but I don't think my athleticism was quite there for the pro or college level in basketball or anything. I ended up running track and doing that in college, but I knew that wasn't going to be the end-all be-all of my career. And I just remember from an early age, in middle school especially, of just watching College Game Day and seeing Samantha Ponder on the TV at the time and thinking to myself, why can't that be me? And just that's really where it all began, of seeing those female role models on ESPN, on Fox, on CBS, on anything, and just thinking to myself, okay, that could be me one day. So I took my love for sports, took my love for storytelling. I'd write countless stories growing up, and I always knew I wanted to do something with sports journalism. And then that brought me to my journey at Nebraska Omaha. Like I mentioned, ran track there for my first couple of years, and then decided to just go full-time reporting, and it's worked out pretty well so far.
Yeah, I could definitely relate to the athlete part. Well, I mean, I played when I was younger and definitely wanted to pursue that. But actually, I wanted to be a Nebraska volleyball player, but didn't have the athletic. So yeah, following it in the sports media path is definitely something that I was hoping to continue as well. You talked a little bit about your going to University of Omaha. Could you talk a little bit about kind of what you did there to kind of help set you up to where you are right now?
Absolutely. I mean, my time at UNO was pivotal for my growth and development, and it's a great program. It's a little bit smaller of a journalism program, but I think that allowed me to have plenty of reps and opportunities as soon as I stepped on campus my freshman year. I started with the MAV radio, student-run radio station, and I actually started as the music coordinator, I think is what it was. So I was like helping pick out the top 100 songs that we'd play on the radio and help make that playlist. And I have a big love for music, but I always knew I wanted to get into the sports side. But yeah, I still did my interviews. I'd post them to mavradio.fm, and I would help call some of the broadcasts, play-by-play, and some color just with every sport that UNO had. And I think if we went back and listened to those, it'd probably be pretty rough, but that's the point of, learning and trying to grow from that experience. So I think it just allowed me to like have a launching pad for my career and a place to have some trial and error and figure out, hey, this is what I'm good at and this is what I need to work on. And a lot of learning, I would say. Throwing myself into situations and trying to make the best of it, and finding out different ways I could get myself out there, reaching out to people on email, text, call, whatever it may be, just to network around the Omaha community, I think was huge. And then from there, after MAV Radio, I just kind of saw a need for more women in the media department there, and especially with sports. So myself, Avery Howard, and Alexa Blaze co-founded Women in Media Club at UNO, and that's another huge part of my growth there of running that club. We ended up with about 20 members by the time I graduated. So we had everyone can join, whether you like sports or not. We had music, entertainment, podcasts, whatever you might be into. But yeah, it was just kind of a coalition of women that wanted to pursue the media career and just needed a door for them to be opened. And yeah, so UNO, to your question, I mean, huge in my development, and I credit that university so much to everything that's come my way since.
And I'm really glad you brought up that Women in Media Club. I was going to ask you about that. How do you think that kind of helped you grow in like your leadership in sports? And it's really important to kind of have that as women in this industry. We kind of get overlooked sometimes. So having that platform.
For sure. I think it was helpful of being put in that leadership position. And I took on a lot of leadership roles in college, but starting your own club is a whole other thing. Like, you got to go through plenty of paperwork with the university. You have to have an advisor on board, and then you're the one setting up meetings and managing all those members and keeping them happy and having the ability to help them too. So I think it truly showed me how much I want to be a role model and how much I want to give back. I think like that's one of the biggest things I want to do with my career. For however long I do this, I want to always give back to the generation that will come after me and the people that will fill in all of our shoes. And I'm saying that pretty young, but like it starts young for a lot of these young girls, just to understand that they have those opportunities and that if you can see it, you can be it. It's like my biggest saying. So just meaning that there are role models out there and everything is possible that you see other women do and other men do. Nothing's off the table for you. So yeah, I think it really helped me grow in just that leadership aspect of, understanding what I wanted out of my career and helped me kind of get on a straight path to everything that I would accomplish. It helped me find some really good mentors too. We had Laura Rutledge speak to our club. We had Mina Kime speak to our club, and those are two people that still interact with me to this day, and Jenny Taft being another one of those people. Just like some really good mentors and role models I think I found, and also starting to shape the young role model that I want to be. And yeah, I think it was just huge for leadership and just kind of showing myself, okay, this is possible. I can do this, and I can, guide other women in the right direction too.
Absolutely. And it's really cool, just even us being so young, we're not very far into this, to be able to say that we're like role models is really cool. I remember I was down covering a Nebraska baseball game, and I was just, walking down the field doing my thing, and I overhear this dad say, shout out to me, and it's like, my daughter wants to talk to you, like she's a woman in sports just like you. And it was like this little three-year-old girl. It was just the cutest thing.
Yeah.
She wanted to take a photo with me with my camera. I just thought it was like the coolest thing ever. So that was just really cool.
Yeah, and those interactions are truly what remind me of my why behind all of this. Like, if I don't get anything out of this, the one thing that I will know that I do every time is I show up, and a little girl in the stands might see me and say, hey, mom, dad, I can do that too. Look, she's doing that. Same thing with your story. Like, that's all I want to do. And even if it impacts one person, great, but I hope to impact a lot more. And I think that's just the biggest thing, is showing up, being there, and again, being a good role model for other young women to see that this is all possible.
And kind of continuing with the women in sports, this industry is pretty male dominated, especially, I know you mentioned you do some play-by-play, me as well. Are there any like challenges you maybe have faced as a woman kind of working in a male dominated industry?
Yeah, I mean, you know this just as well as I do, but I feel like as a woman, when you walk into a room, you are immediately trying to prove yourself, whereas a man walks into a room and you don't assume that he knows nothing about sports. But a lot of the time, women are questioned a lot more and criticized a lot more, especially based upon looks. And I think that's a tough thing that women have to deal with. But I always try to spin the male-dominated field thing into something positive, because, I mean, I think for women, it's a huge opportunity to stand out, truly. And because we have this opportunity of being a woman in sports, I think it allows us to stand out a little bit more and maybe use our voice for good. And I think that's another big thing, being a role model and all that stuff. But yeah, I mean, there are tons of, I think, challenges with being a woman in sports. I think it's gotten a lot better because we don't have to deal with what, women 20, 30 years ago had to deal with. It's been getting better, but there's still so much room for improvement. But I think just having a good support system around you is huge, because we all get the tweets from the burner accounts and whatever that don't like your take or don't like your outfit that day, whatever it may be. I think as long as you know who you are truly, that stuff doesn't really affect me necessarily. But I think also a big shout out to our male colleagues that also try to build us up too. It is a male dominated industry, but there's been so many men throughout, my career and my college career that have helped me and helped lift my voice up. So I think that's also huge, of like finding your circle of people that you trust and you care about to hear their opinion on, your work, and you can take criticism from. So yeah, I think it's like a double-edged sword for sure, being a woman in sports, and there's pros and cons of it, but I definitely think it's gotten a lot better. But you'd be silly not to say there aren't challenges being a woman in sports. I think we still have a long way to go, but it's definitely getting better.
Yeah, and it definitely goes back, you mentioned those mentors and just being able to have that support system of those people who you can really trust. And, just last night I was, talking with one of my mentors. Shout out Lauren Michelson if you're listening to this. She's just, one of those who I've really looked up to. And one of the main reasons why I got into sports anchoring in the first place, because back when I interned at Channel 8 when she was there, she was a sports anchor there. And it really goes back to, if you see it, you could believe it. Like, I saw her in those shoes and it made me want to try and do it. And so just being able to have someone like that is really huge, especially for us in this industry, for sure.
I love that.
I want to go into a little bit more about your career. So, you've worked with the Huskers, Omaha, Creighton. Out of all the games you covered, what would you say is your favorite game that you've gotten to cover?
Ooh, that's a tough question. I think the resounding answer for me will always be Volleyball Day in Nebraska. I've said this before, even if I cover a Super Bowl, a World Cup, anything, World Series, I still truly believe Volleyball Day in Nebraska will be the coolest thing I've ever covered my entire life. It was just like so surreal seeing that football field with the volleyball court on it, 92,000 people in the stands. Like, it was just Like I have chills thinking about it right now.
You're
It's
not
just,
the first person who's mentioned that I've asked that question.
yeah, it was just the epitome of Nebraska and how this state has truly been on the forefront of supporting women's sports and especially volleyball. And it was the most incredible moment. That tunnel walk, I will never forget that. I almost had tears in my eyes, watching the Husker team run out. Like I grew up wanting to be a football player on that field and wishing that I could run out into Memorial Stadium ever. And for them to actually have that chance and to see the whole state, and I'm sure people drove in too, but like just to see that support was incredible. But yeah, that's got to be the answer, I think, every time.
100%. I know I did not cover the game, but I was there's a fan. If anyone knows me,
Nice.
I'm a Nebraska volleyball fanatic. I know you know that too. So yeah, that was just it's just there really aren't enough words to describe it. And I really just think it all comes down to there's no place like Nebraska. I know we say that all the time, but yeah, that was 100% definitely my top moment as a fan for sure as well. So like the world, like the sports industry is pretty competitive. How would you say, what is some advice you give on like making yourself stand out? Cause I know for me, like I'm getting ready to like send out job applications, like put myself out there. How do you make yourself kind of stand out in a field that's like so competitive?
Yeah, that's another great question. I think it sounds so cliche, but truly being yourself. And that's something that I didn't really embrace or understand. I think that took me a while to figure out my own voice and my own personality on air. Because I'm a pretty funny person with all my friends. Like I think that's probably the first word they would use to describe me. But trying to let whatever it is about you that's unique to really shine through in your work, I think is big. And just being creative and not being afraid to stand out, I think is the other thing. I feel like as reporters, we try to fit in quite a bit and like, have this structure that we like to follow and our voice even. And some people have their on-air voice. Well, you really shouldn't. Like you should just use your own voice, right? Like use whatever has been given to you. And I think just using what talents you have and what interests you have and kind of mixing that all together. But yeah, being yourself, I think, is huge. And again, I think that's something that I truly found in the last, honestly, couple years, really. Like when I look back at my other work, just feeling like I was a little too tense or a little too much thinking about, okay, what's the next question I'm going to ask versus, okay, I'm actually actively listening to this person and I can give a great follow-up and I can interact with them and have a funny interaction and not be afraid. I think that's the other thing is like confidence. And I think your personality can come out when you have confidence, but that doesn't come unless you practice quite a bit and have a lot of reps under your belt. So yeah, I would say your confidence breeds your own personality and it brings it out more. So I would say that's probably my biggest thing. The other thing I think is really important for people coming out of college or just ending their college career is just to never compare yourself to anybody. And I think so many people, and I even got caught up in, why did she do this? Why did he get to do this? Just trying to look at what other people are doing. Well, if you just run your own race and you're not looking side to side, you're gonna be the fastest. You're gonna be the best you can be. A little track reference there. But when you're running a race, you don't want to look side to side or you're swimming or whatever because that just slows you down. So I think just truly being yourself. Don't compare yourself to other people because everyone's path is so different. I mean, all the journalists that I've talked to that have quote unquote made it, they've had such different journeys and such different ways they've gotten to where they are, and none of it's been linear. And I don't expect my career to be linear. There's going to be ups and downs. I've been told no more times than I can count and taken off things that I wish I could have had. And it's okay because all you need is one yes from the right person. And yeah, that's the other thing. Don't compare because you never know what your journey will be like. So that's probably my biggest advice.
Yes, definitely writing that one down because that's something that I think I know I do a lot. I tend to like compare myself to the person like, oh, they're way better than me, and I like I'm not as good as them. Like, they're gonna get the job before me. I know that that's something I need to get out of my head, but that's something that I definitely do struggle with for sure.
Yeah, it's a real thing for sure, and we naturally just want to compare ourselves. It's a human thing, especially if you've been an athlete before. You want to look at your competition and you want to be better than them, but use that fuel to rather make you want to work harder versus compare yourself harder. But yeah, because that's just a game you don't want to play with yourself. But definitely a big piece of advice there. I wish I would have followed like 5 years ago.
And I think another thing too, something especially something that I struggle is like trying to be perfect. Like whenever I'm on air or like calling a game, I'm always afraid like, oh, if I mess up and then I'm waiting, like, oh, I'm gonna get a text like you said this wrong, you said that wrong, and just trying to like also get that out of my head and just like focus on what you're doing. And
yeah, and I think that's the part about us being human is that we're not perfect, and anybody that makes a comment about someone saying something wrong on a broadcast or likes to tweet out, oh, this announcer was biased or whatever they want to say, like they can't do your job. They're not in your position for a reason. Only take criticism from people that you'd want to trade places with, I think is my biggest thing. Like don't take criticism and don't take advice from people that wouldn't be in your position or somewhere higher. So yeah, definitely don't let that ever get to your head, but it's a battle for sure to want to be perfect and want to say everything correctly or make sure you have the story right before somebody else or whatever it may be. There's definitely a lot of pressure for that, but like you said, you can't be perfect because if that were the case, I don't know any broadcaster that's perfect. That would be pretty incredible. So everyone makes mistakes. It's okay. You just got to be confident in what you say and be yourself. That's truly the recipe.
Yeah, the next one thing I really wanted to talk to you here about, this is, I guess, for the people who don't know, how me and Anna met. We were a part of UNL's first ever all-female football broadcast back in my freshman year. Hard to believe it's been 4 years.
Yeah, wow.
I have the clip here from BTN, and I'm going to play that. All right, I'm going to play it.
Very cool happening today during this spring game is the Nebraska student radio station KRNU has an all-female broadcast crew for the spring game. I'm talking play-by-play, analysts, spotters, stats, everything that goes into a broadcast. Every single person working on it is a young woman. And I had a chance to catch up with these ladies pregame, and they said they were just so excited to have the opportunity to have this big of an event on their resume and to just get experience, not only with Nebraska football, but also in the Big Ten.
Love it. Yeah, that was a cool moment, Sarah. I again grew up like watching Nebraska football, being a huge fan, going to every fan day. So that was a surreal moment to be up in that booth.
Absolutely. And like honest and getting to go like down on the field, I was like, I know me who like obviously like I'm a diehard Husker fan. Like I grew up, wanting to be a Husker, and just getting to go down like, whoa, cool. And also like, so like with Karen, I know you did the play-by-play but for me, like I was just the spotter. So I'm like, oh, like it's not going to be that big of a deal. Like we're just going to be in the corner of our booth. Like first I was like, oh, it's like they thought nothing of it. But then when we went down on the field and the BTN crew was like, we want to do a story about you guys. I was like, that was when it hit me. I'm like, well, this is cool. And then
sometimes it's hard in those moments to realize like what you're doing, and hopefully that inspired some little girls that day.
Absolutely. And both you and I being from Nebraska and growing up wanting to watch the Huskers, and then now getting to like cover the team, what does it mean to you to be able to be and your alma mater too with Omaha now? What does it mean to you to be able to kind of cover those teams that you went to school with, you grew up watching, and just kind of covering them now?
Yeah, I think my younger self would be like screaming and freaking out if she knew what what I'd be doing 10, 12 years later. But no, it's really cool. And again, it's hard to like contextualize it in the moment and try to understand how big of a moment it is, because you're just trying to get through your game and do a good job. And and succeed at whatever it is at that moment. But I mean, reflecting and looking back, I do think it is really special to have grown up in Nebraska, get to cover Nebraska, Omaha, and Creighton sports, and players and coaches that I, grew up watching, and get to see them come back, if they're an alum or a coach like Greg McDermott. I went into his autograph line once as a kid, and now, I interview him all the time at Creighton and go to press conferences and hear from him quite a bit. So it's funny to see just that growth. And I think it is really special because Nebraska is such an underrated place for sports. I think the fans here are incredible, and the sports here are top notch, from high school to college to pro, with the Supernovas, the Storm Chasers, everyone. Like every team is truly cared about here. And I mean, there's no other place I'd like to start my career and truly get my toes into sports reporting. It's meant a lot more to cover the hometown teams and be a part of something special and get to see them grow too. And like the success of UNO right now is awesome, with the men's basketball team and the hockey team, like seeing from where those programs started versus where they're at right now. And the same deal with Creighton, and when they were playing in the Civic Center and, not drawing near as many people as they do now, it's really special to see that growth. But yeah, having a front row seat to it as a hometown kid, I couldn't have asked for anything better.
And getting to cover all those games. Did you ever have a moment where it kind of hit you were like, I've made it?
I truly, I don't know if I'll say I made it. I don't know if I'll ever say that, because I feel like I'm always learning and working towards something new. But I think there's definitely moments where I'm like, okay, this was really cool. I think one of those moments for sure, interviewing Peyton Manning this past summer, that was a pinch me moment. Definitely, just because I grew up watching Peyton Manning, as did everyone else, right? And he was really cool to talk to. And I think after that, in the moment, I wasn't really thinking about it, but once I stepped back, I was like, whoa, I just talked to Peyton Manning, how did I get here, kind of thing. I was just a little girl with the dream to play sports and hopefully write about them. I never thought I'd be in front of a camera or be on TV or anything like that. So yeah, it was really special to have those kind of pinch me moments. But man, yeah, I don't know. I try to not say made it or anything, because truly nobody has it all figured out. And I think that's another big lesson I've learned. Your idols still are learning and still have things that they're working on and worries that they have and deal with, confidence issues too. So I think that's just another big thing to remember. No one truly has made it. No one truly has figured it all out. I think it's just kind of a never ending cycle of trying to be better and trying to get to that next thing, whatever it may be. But to your point, you also got to soak it in and be like, hey, I've gotten this far. I've done this and I'm proud of myself. So I think that's another big thing that I'm trying to get better at, is soaking up those moments, taking those photos, taking those videos for myself to remember these moments down the road.
Absolutely. And that's definitely something I've been trying to do, especially this last year. It's my last year, kind of hard to believe, just trying to soak everything in and take it all up. And going back to the pinch me moment, I think for me, my first pinch me moment was back when Nebraska volleyball had their spring game in Central City, because that's just about 15 minutes from where I grew up. And actually, just down the street from where they played the game is where I started, playing volleyball when I was 8 years old. So to be able to come back to, the place where it kind of all started, to be able to cover Nebraska volleyball, that was just for me, definitely that moment where I'm pinch me. Yeah. And I remember, I'm trying to stay calm because, I'm supposed to be professional. I'm a member of the media. And I remember Erin Sorsen came up to me and she's like, "You're allowed to think this is cool."
Oh. Yeah, I think that's a great message, because what we do is really cool. We get to be around, coaches and athletes and see them in a lot of moments that people don't get to see. So I think just remembering that privilege and remembering, that it is really cool what we do. And this always doesn't have to feel like a job to us. We can truly enjoy what we do and come to work every day with a great attitude and excitement for what we're about to cover, and truly wanting to be there, I think, is the biggest thing too. And remembering why you do what you do is huge. So those moments are really important to be like, yeah, this is cool. What I'm doing is sweet. And it's something that I've always wanted to do growing up, like you mentioned.
Absolutely. Well, we're coming up on 30 minutes here. So unfortunately we have to go to a break, but I want to thank you, Anna, for joining me. I really enjoyed getting to talk to you.
Yeah, thank you so much, Sarah. And you've blossomed so much at Nebraska. So keep up the great work. And I can't wait to see where your career goes.
Thank you. Have a good night.
All right. We'll see you.
See ya. That was Anna Bellinghausen of Hurrdat Sports. I want to thank her so much for joining us today. We're coming up here on the break. Unfortunately, time is just flying by, but we are going to have to send it to a break. When we come back, we're going to discuss some Nebraska women's basketball. And also Husker volleyball picked up a new transfer. So we'll talk about all of that after the break. This is Women's Sports Weekly on 93.7 The Ticket.
Home is your empire. Protect it with Empire Fence. Get a free instant quote with the online estimating tool at empire-fence.com. See an upfront estimate with no hidden fees. An Empire Fence can provide privacy and improve the appearance of your home. Keep kids and pets in or out of your yard. Increase security and add value to your property. Visit empire-fence.com now to view the stylish and maintenance-free possibilities for your home and get a free instant online quote. Let Empire Fence protect your empire.
Perch Merch is your one-stop shop for all your printing and promotional needs in Lincoln, Nebraska. They specialize in screen printing, embroidery, vehicle wraps, window wraps, print collateral, promotional products, and signage. At Perch Merch, they are committed to delivering high-quality products and exceptional customer service. Their experienced team of designers and printing professionals will work with you every step of the way to ensure that your vision is realized. Call for a quote today at 402-217-5212 or go to perch-merch.com.
Big box stores are tempting for buying equipment for your high schooler in sports or for yourself in your sports leisures. But buying new is awfully expensive. Why not go somewhere with new and used options? Play It Again Sports is quality, slightly to gently used equipment, and 50% of their inventory is actually new equipment. And it's more than baseball, softball, and golf. They also have equipment for disc golf, fitness, hockey, and more. Plus, they're always buying products. Bring your gear you're done with and get trade money on the spot. Play It Again Sports at 48th and Vine.
Having diabetes doesn't have to ruin your new year. Join a Nebraska-supported program like Living Well with Diabetes. You'll learn how to manage your symptoms, feel more confident, and reduce stress about your diagnosis. Search Nebraska Living Well with Diabetes and click on the DHHS Healthy Living Programs page to learn more. Paid for by the Nebraska Department of Health and Human Services. Aired with the Nebraska Broadcasters Association and this station.
Not many businesses can say they've made it 60 years, but Madsen's Bowling and Billiards can. With 12 bowling lanes and the biggest pool room in Nebraska, where else would you go to enjoy an afternoon or evening? There's great daily specials like $2 Tuesdays. Games of bowling, shoe rentals, draft beers, and tacos, all just $2 each. Have a delicious burger at EJ's Lounge before or after your bowling or pool session, and you'll leave satisfied. Madsen's Bowling and Billiards at 47th and Dudley.
Things that impair you come in many different shapes and sizes. Some are the shape of beer and liquor bottles. Others look like cigarettes but aren't cigarettes at all. These are the things we know impair us, the things our parents warned us about. What we're not always aware of is our new prescription or the over-the-counter medicine we picked up just for allergies or a bad cold. See, it doesn't just matter how much of a substance you take. If you are impaired, driving is deceptively dangerous. Don't drive impaired. Paid for by the NDOT Highway Safety Office.
Ever wish you had another light switch on the other side of the room on a dark night? How much better would you sleep at night if you had a ceiling fan in your room? The High Electric Service Department is here to make your electrical what-ifs a reality. Whether you're looking to replace some outdated light fixtures or brighten up your counters with under-cabinet lighting, High Electric can handle all types of residential electrical installations and services. Give Erica a call at 402-466-6606 or visit high-electric.com to get started.
Davis Plumbing has been in business for over 15 years and is currently searching for journeyman plumbers to join their team. Experience is preferred, but not required for all applicants. When you join the team at Davis Plumbing, you'll receive full benefits package with paid time off. Join a small local business doing big things in Lincoln and surrounding areas. Apply today by calling 402-525-6922 or find them on social media. Davis Plumbing, locally owned and operated for over 15 years.
Go Hog Wild Pit Barbecue.
It's $5.99 barbecue time. Hurry to Hog Wild for a complete barbecue meal that's only $5.99. Get a one-meat sandwich loaded with our award-winning barbecue, plus your choice of a classic side and drink for just $5.99. Upgrade your sandwich to beef brisket for just $1 more. Join us for lunch or dinner in Lincoln at 3210 Cornhusker Highway. Order online at GoHogWild.com.
But don't be late, we close at 8.
Plains Cover Crop is your one-stop seed shop. Call us now for spring and summer forages, CRP mixes, and fall cover crop blends. We do farm-specific consulting for practical and efficient seed blends to fit your geography and goals. With a very diverse inventory, we will tailor a blend just for you. We're also looking for contract growers, and we buy and sell rye. Find us online at plainscovercrop.com. Timeless agronomy practices paired with modern technology. East Highway 20 in Orchard and across Nebraska.
Bagels and Joe is the best place to start off your mornings, and you can order your breakfast ahead of time on their app. You can't go wrong with one of their great bagel sandwiches or breakfast burritos. Stop by any of their 4 locations in Lincoln or their location in Seward. Bagels and Joe.
Psst. You know what's better than waking up early to go to the airport? Sleeping in. Lucky for you, the lines at the Lincoln Airport are so short and our service is so fast. You won't need to sacrifice precious beauty sleep to get here hours before your flight. So, go ahead, sleep in. You deserve it, and choose the airport that helps you relax. LNK, make flying easy.
Back to the Ticket weeknights on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
Welcome back into Women's Sports Weekly. I'm your host, Sarah Pearson. I want to thank Anna once again on that last segment for joining me. I really enjoyed getting to talk to her. But now we're going to flip the script a little bit, and we're going to start by talking a little bit of Nebraska women's basketball. So, unfortunately, we have to talk about a loss. I don't like talking about losses. I tend to be quiet and don't talk to me when the Huskers lose. But, this is radio. We got to talk about it. So, Nebraska women took on Ohio State on Sunday and unfortunately fell short, 72-66. But they played really well. Ohio State was number 12 in the country, had only lost one game all year. So, for the Huskers to be able to even keep it close with Ohio State, and they had the lead after the first quarter and at halftime. So, for them to be able to even keep it close was really impressive, especially with all they've gone through this year with the injuries to Natalie Potts and Allison Widener. So I'm going to break down the game a little bit. One spotlight for the Huskers in the game was Alexis Markowski once again. Has been a leader for them all season long. She had 6 rebounds and 18 points, and she actually moved into second place all-time at Nebraska in career rebounds, now sitting at 1,118. Still a little bit ways away out of first, but there's a lot of season left to play. So we'll see if Alexis can jump up to first all time. And that game on Sunday, it ended a streak. The Huskers were they had won their last 5 games in a row. They were really on a roll, and they hadn't lost at home this year. That streak actually dated back to last season. The Huskers had a 15 home game win streak snapped, unfortunately. They're now 15-5 overall and 6-3 in conference play. So still a pretty good record overall. But something that I think is really impressive is Nebraska women have not had a bad loss. All of their losses have come to top-ranked teams. They lost at UCLA and at USC. They were both in the top 5, and then now number 12 Ohio State. And then their other game against Georgia Tech, they were not ranked at the time, but are now ranked. So all their losses coming to really close, really good teams in the Big Ten. So nothing for the Huskers to hang their heads about. Overall, another really good team performance. Kellen Hank had 12 points. Britt Prince had 8 points, 8 rebounds, 3 assists, 3 steals. Alberti Rimdahl had 8 points and 3 assists, and Jessica Petrie added 6 points, 6 rebounds, and 3 assists. And the crowd on Sunday was pretty impressive. They were trying to pack PBA. They had been promoting that for the last few months. And it was the third largest crowd all time for Nebraska women's basketball history, 9,772. We all know number one was back when they took down Iowa last year on their home court. They do play them at home again this year, so we'll see if maybe we can break that record. I'm not sure what number 2 is. If you don't know, hey, that's a great time to bring it up. The text line, the Sartor Heyman Jewelers video stream, you can actually text in at 402-464-5685 if you have any questions for me, any thoughts about the game or anything that we're talking about. So yeah, just drop us your thoughts, and we would love to hear from you guys. So keep that in mind while I dig into the next kind of part here. I wanted to show some, I guess not show, you can't see the sound bites, but let's listen to some sound bites about the game that happened after the game in the press conference. So give me a second here. We'll get those pulled up. But yeah, head coach Amy Williams, she spoke after the game, and during the game, it was kind of a back and forth battle, and the Huskers were staying with it, but Ohio State went on a run late in the third quarter, and that's ultimately what pushed them over the edge in the end. But the Huskers, they did a great job of kind of responding and staying with it. So here's Coach Williams talking a little bit about that. One second here. I got to make sure the
turnovers that they were able to transition into points. And for the most part, I was really proud of our ability when they forced teams into 25 turnovers on average. And then we had 13 turnovers. I thought we did a pretty good job of handling their press in the backcourt, but just some untimely turnovers out of, timeouts or dead balls or whatever, where we would turn it over and they could go get some run out points right there that I think gave them a little bit of a lead. But our team didn't quit. We kept fighting. We scratched and clawed back in, made it a 1-point game after that. And I think that showed great response.
And those turnovers are something that, the Huskers, you really can't have too many of those against a top team like Ohio State. And the margin of error really is small when you play a team as tough as that. So those turnovers definitely did end up hurting the Huskers in the end. But credit to them, they fought. And that's been their mantra all season long, is fighting for one another and playing with each other. And, even when the shots aren't falling, because, that happened for a spell during the game where they couldn't hit their shots. And Coach Williams also talked a little bit about that, the team kind of staying positive and keep going when things like that happen during the game.
Yeah, that's one thing I'm proud of. That's one thing the girls talk about. They take great pride. I love the way this team loves each other. And I think that a player like Britt Prince can feel that from her upperclassmen, from her teammates, that type of support, that I've got your back. And, that matters. I think it just matters. And it allows for a player like Britt, I just think the maturity at a young age to be able to say, okay, maybe I'm not scoring it the way that I would like to, but I can still impact this game. And I thought she really did impact the game, both defensively and with just, playmaking abilities. But I think to be able to know, like, I still have to rebound, or I can still do some really good things by just getting tips and deflections. And I think she had 3 steals again here tonight, and just made some plays to continue to impact the game for our team.
And Britt Prince has been a huge impact player for this Nebraska team all season long. Usually she's well in the double-digit scoring column. Only had 8 points in the loss, but for a freshman to be able to kind of have that mindset, like Coach Williams mentioned, and wanting to just find any way to get her team to win is really huge. And, Britt Prince was a really sought-out player back when she was getting recruited in high school, and it was so huge for Nebraska to be able to land her. She really has been a big part of their success this season, and she also spoke after the game on continuing that fight and not giving up until the end. So let's hear from Britt.
I think definitely my shots weren't falling today, especially my threes, but I think just my team has confidence in me always, and I have confidence in them, and we know what we're trying to do. And I thought a lot of people had a lot of big buckets down the stretch when we were going on a run to come back. And but yeah, we're just going to stick together, get back in the gym, and work hard for each other.
And the Huskers, they do have a quick turnaround. They take on Purdue Thursday night, that game at 6:00. And the Huskers, the Big Ten is a grind. And yes, this is a tough loss, and it's one they would have loved to win, but they are going to have to just shake it off. And like Britt mentioned, just get back to work, get in the gym, and bounce back, because no game is easy in the Big Ten, and they're going to have to go on the road in Purdue and in their home court. So that's going to be a tough environment. But another thing I think the Huskers did a really great job of is when they have a tough loss like this Ohio State one, and like they've had earlier in the season, they've done a really good job of learning from the loss and bouncing back. And Helen Hake spoke after the game, and she talked a little bit about what that looks like.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, we learned tonight that the margin of error is small when we're going to play these ranked teams and when we're going to go on the road, and we can't have mistakes that are beating ourselves. And I think we had a couple of those, and those add up. So how can we minimize those? But our response to this loss is very important as we go play 2 tough road games and kind of have a long streak on the road. And so I'm excited to get back in the gym and learn from this loss and go get 2 road wins.
That was Kellen Hake on learning from the loss, and the Huskers will see if they can bounce back. Like I just mentioned, that they will face Purdue on the road in West Lafayette. Tip-off is set for 6 p.m. I believe that game is on BTN Plus. Also available on the Huskers Radio Network, so make sure to tune in and support the Huskers. But that segment was a little bit shorter, but we are coming up on time here. So we're actually going to send it to a quick break, but when we come back, we'll have the final segment, and we're going to talk a little pro volleyball, week 3 in the PBF and LOVB, and also some big news out of Nebraska volleyball. We'll talk about that after the break, but for now, you are listening to Women's Sports Weekly on 93.7 The Ticket.
At Fairway Meat Market, your family, and as part of the family, they want to save you money on your meat and groceries. This week, enjoy a 3-day sale from January 30th to February 1st, featuring USDA Choice whole beef brisket for $3.99 per pound, all-natural pork butt $1.79 per pound, farmland bacon $3.99 per 16 ounces with a limit of 4, and all-natural spare ribs $2.99 per pound. That's the 3-day sale from January 30th to February 1st at Fairway Meat Market in the Rockledge Square Shopping Center, just south of 84th and Van Dorn.
Hey farmers, Boyd Farm Outfitters is hosting a product expo at their facility near Exeter on Tuesday, February 11th. They'll introduce the newest products from Precision Planting and demo the Quick Draw Spray Tender System. They'll give you an up-close look at the Green Eye Select Spraying System, reveal the future of soybean traits, and much more. Stay up to date with the newest technologies in agriculture and learn how your farm can save time and money to become more efficient. Visit BoydFarmOutfitters.com for more information, and they'll see you on the 11th.
Unearth the secret to long-lasting tires at Tread's Central Tire Pros, a league apart in commitment, service, and expertise. This isn't just about rubber meeting the road, but trust, safety, and surety converging in perfect harmony. This is where expectations are exceeded every time. Make your appointment today at Tread Central Tire Pros, just south of Cortland on Highway 77, or visit our website to explore our services. Remember, when it comes to tires, choose Tread Central Tire Pros because we tread differently.
Perch Merch is your one-stop shop for all your printing and promotional needs in Lincoln, Nebraska. They specialize in screen printing, embroidery, vehicle wraps, window wraps, print collateral, promotional products, and signage. At Perch Merch, they are committed to delivering high-quality products and exceptional customer service. Their experienced team of designers and printing professionals will work with you every step of the way to ensure that your vision is realized. Call for a quote today at 402-217-5212 or go to perch-merch.com.
Are you a skilled mechanic looking for your next big opportunity? Constructors is hiring. We're looking for experienced mechanics to join our family-owned team. We offer competitive wages, great benefits, brand new service trucks, OEM-level diagnostic software, and career growth opportunities. Positions include lead and A-level mechanics for our shop and multiple field technicians. If you're driven and ready to grow with a company that's been around since 1908, apply today at constructorslincoln.com.
This is Bill Mitchner, Executive Director of Lincoln Lighthouse. Did you know Lighthouse provides multiple programs for students such as one-on-one tutoring and mentoring, as well as pro-social skill exercises, while providing them a nourishing meal and a safe space during all months of the year, even during school breaks? Learn more or contribute to Lighthouse at lincolnlighthouse.org today.
I'm softball player Jordy Ball, and I'm proud of my Nebraska roots, and I'm proud to be back home. And at Midwest Bank, they're proud to be your local community bank. They believe in family first, taking initiative, showing integrity, and rolling up their sleeves to support their local communities. They treat everyone like family, no matter where you're from. Whether you walk into a branch in York, Lincoln, Norfolk, or Pierce, you know you're going to be welcomed with a smile. Your community, your bank, Midwest Bank.
Hey volleybalfans, this is Laura Dijkema, national player of the Netherlands and now the setter on Omaha's newest professional team, Love Omaha Volleyball. League Volleyball is bringing the heat this year. Don't miss your chance to see Olympians, national players and national champions right here in Omaha from now through April. We can't wait to see you cheering for us in the stands. Visit lovboma.com to buy single match tickets to see me and Love Omaha Volleyball in action. Go Big Green!
Empower a child today with the Teammates Mentoring Program. Hope is only a conversation away when you choose to share your talent, time, and heart with a child. Together, you can build a relationship based on strengths and chart a brighter future, 1 week at a time. Find out how you can be a mentor by visiting LincolnTeammates.org. Become what you needed as a kid by joining the Teammates Mentoring Program today.
Hey there, fellas. It's your girl Jordan with Sartor Heyman Jewelry. Let's talk about trading up. Not what you're thinking. You could never trade her in, but you can trade up her stone if you like. Signify the growth of your love, the challenges you have overcome, or any part of your love journey by trading up her diamond. Whether it's been 5 years, 25 years, or 50. Say it with a bling. Big love, big bling. We got you. Until next time, this is Jordan at Sartor Heyman Jewelry. Happy shopping, guys.
Early break. Just as Kevin says, the old days were absolutely not better times. Lots of hardships. Life in 2025 is better than ever.
Oh, I love when we get these jokes back. I love
Good joke, good
I love
one.
that joke. You're a good one.
Good one, Kevin.
You're hilarious, Kevin. You keep it up.
Early break from 6 to 8 every weekday morning on 93.7 The Ticket. Back to The Ticket weeknights on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
I'll get the hang of this eventually. Third time's the charm. So we're back. Women's Sports Weekly, the third and final segment. We don't have a lot of time here, so I'm gonna have to go a little bit quick. But pro volleyball, week 3, pretty good weekend for the Omaha squads. The Supernovas improved to 3-2 overall. They had a sweep over Columbus. The former Huskers, a couple of them showed out. We had Kayla Caffey getting three kills, 3 blocks. Caitlin Horde with 5 kills and 3 blocks. But the player of the match, Reagan Cooper, she had 14 kills and 9 digs. The outside out of Kansas played very well for the Supernovas. Their next game will be Friday against Columbus at 7 p.m. That game actually broadcasted on News Channel Nebraska, so you can tune into that. And Love Omaha, their home opener, they took down Madison 3-1 on Friday. Another Nebraska versus Wisconsin showdown. I'm saying Nebraska volleyball, they own Wisconsin. Jordan Larson 5-0 against Wisconsin this year. Jordan, it was her first pro game back in the United States in over 15 years. So that was just really cool to see that and have her, she's played all over the world. So to be able to have her come back home and have that moment was just really cool. And she had 8 kills in the opening game on Friday. And then on Saturday, Love Omaha also had another game. They played Austin on Saturday, but unfortunately it fell short 3-0 in their first loss of the season. So that was really tough, but you can't win them all. But Omaha will look to bounce back. And it was also kind of, it was a Husker homecoming for, not only Jordan Larson, but all the other Nebraska players, Justine and Maddie and Lauren, everyone, Lexi, their first time getting to play at pro volleyball in their hometown, and everyone out was there. Coach Cook was there, Danny Busboom, the Husker volleyball team, everyone really out in attendance for that one. So that was just really cool. And I guess, I mentioned Jordan Larson. I should probably bring this up, even though it breaks my heart, but Jordan Larson announced that she's stepping down from the Nebraska assistant coaching position. It was announced yesterday. So really unfortunate news. It's been really cool to have her back home coaching for her alma mater. But, with this new League One Omaha team starting, I'm sure she wants to focus on playing. And so we want to wish her all the best as she continues her playing career. And who knows, maybe someday after she's done playing, she'll be back. But we want to wish her well. And very quickly before I sign off here this evening, I also want to bring up some more Nebraska volleyball news. We had a new transfer out of the portal. Huskers grabbed Allie Check, the 6'4" left-handed opposite from Baylor. She comes in and has 1 year of eligibility, and that kind of completes the puzzle that Nebraska was looking for. Merritt Beeson graduating. We really had a hole at right side, but Check will definitely be a huge fill for that. And she was a pretty big deal at Baylor, 2-time all Big 12 selection. And one thing I wanted to mention was something really cool that she brought up. She idolizes Merritt Beeson, played her position. And this was quoted from her. She says, "If someone told you could go play somewhere where Merritt Beeson was and be a miniature version, you would sign up too." So that's just kind of really cool for her to be able to come back. A team, who wouldn't want to come play for Nebraska? So that's just something really cool that she said, and I'm sure she's really excited. And Husker fans, get ready to cheer on Allie Check. But unfortunately, we're out of time. I feel like the time just flew by this evening, but I want to thank you so much for tuning in. And I don't know if this will be the last episode or not. Unfortunately, we've had a fun run, but there's some scheduling things going on here at the Ticket, and everyone's trying to get everything figured out. So if this is it for me on air here at the Ticket, don't go anywhere. You can follow me on X. It's rolling across the screen, and keep up with me. And if it's not here, I'll post stuff on there, and we'll definitely keep it going. But for now, thank you so much for listening. This has been Women's Sports Weekly on 93.7 93.7 The Ticket. Don't go anywhere. We have Husker bowling coming up here at 9 o'clock. But thank you for listening. This has been Women's Sports Weekly on 93.7 The Ticket.
Michigan's home for sports talk on the FM dial. Also online at theticketfm.com. On the internet. KNTK FM Firth, 93.7 The Ticket. Finally, a good reason to have a smart house. Just say, Alexa, play 93.7 The Ticket, and we'll magically start playing. How's it work? Nobody knows. Don't ask questions.
At Planet Fitness, we're declaring it. This is the year of getting stronger. And future stronger you can get started now by saving $28 or more when you join today.